Welcome to Wealth Made Simple with Shaz, where you'll learn how to master your money through business, property, and tax-saving strategies. Your host has collectively helped his clients make tens of millions of pounds in additional profits through these strategic approaches to business. Introducing Shaz Nawaz, an award-winning chartered accountant, property tax expert, entrepreneur, and property investor.
What's a commercial conversion?
It's a good question, Shaz. What is a commercial conversion?
No, you asked me the question. So
No, a commercial conversion is it's a commercial. My English is good, right? It's a commercial. It's where you purchase a commercial building, so a warehouse, an old shop, an old post office, something like that, and then you convert it into a set of residential flats. Now, number of flats you'll get in will depend on the size of the commercial unit. It'll depend on, the planning permission. It'll depend on so many factors. So there's no hard and fast rule. But in general, you will either increase the number of units in the building or decrease them. Generally, for a commercial conversion where you're taking it from a commercial type style unit into a residential unit, you'll be increasing the number of units.
okay, that's a good explanation, by the way. That sounds quite interesting. So, based on my own experience and the stuff that we've done, Kieran, I'd say 18 months will be a sensible time to aim for, to start from start to finish for a commercial conversion.
18 months.
Yeah.
Okay.
But you talk about planning, so obviously if prior approval or permitted development apply, then I think you can do it in 18 months. If you go through the planning process, then it might take longer because you're in the hands of the gods, as they say. You're in the hands of the council.
The council and the planning committees.
Yeah, it could be any local authority, by the way. They're a law unto themselves sometimes.
Yeah, and they can long things out. They can take time.
Take a lot of time.
A lot of time.
Let's take up a planning aspect and say 18 months you can get the job done.
So physical work, buying, designing, building, renting out.
Absolutely.
18 months.
Yeah.
But what two rules do we understand are true about property?
Always take longer, always cost you more.
So when we tell you 18 months, listeners, please remember...
It's going to take you longer, by the way.
It always takes longer and it always costs more.
Yeah, we talk about that, but I'll tell you what. The previous conversion we did in Boston.
Yes.
Didn't take 18 months.
That took less than 18 months.
The post office, which we're going to do now, which we'll share with people as the weeks go on, because we'll be sharing our key learnings with them, won't take 18 months.
No, it shouldn't.
Remember, we just completed, I think, the 2 days before Christmas.
Yes.
Because remember, I drove down to London to drop the documents
I do
and
remember.
all that saga, which we might talk about as well. All right.
That was a good time.
And it's been 3 months now. We're aiming to start in May, and it'll take us 6, 7, maximum 8 months to do the work. Okay, plus these 3, 4 months, 10 months. In within that refinancing, I'm telling you, it'll be less than 18 months. Less than 18 months. You watch. And that's for
I will.
21 or 21 or 22 flats. Do you know?
Yeah.
So once you've done a few, you can get better at it, and you can speed it up.
Well, I mean that's something that we will go on to in subsequent shows. Is once you've done a few, you know who to call, and it's not the Ghostbusters.
Well, that'd be good.
Oh, wouldn't it just? But
the A-Team.
Yeah, can we call the A-Team?
I'd rather call the A-Team. Yeah.
Okay, or maybe MacGyver.
Yeah. Anyone. Someone answer the phone.
Any of the above.
Yeah.
Yeah. Put us in touch.
Yeah.
If they can get it done. And like I say, this will probably have to be a future episode of power teams. Because now that we've done a few, we know what we're doing, we know who to call, we know who to contact, we know who's good at what, we know what we need, exactly what we need, rather than, I think I need a QS, I think maybe a project manager. No, I'll project manage it myself and then get it wrong and then have to hire a project manager to fix my mistakes. Things like that. And that's an advantage that we have, is that we know these people and we've worked with them before. We've done jobs with them before. So we've got a solid power team in place. So we can do it in less than 18 months. And I think it's important to recognize that as a caveat to people who are just getting into commercial conversions.
Yeah, absolutely right. And you know what? If the first one takes you 24 months or 2.5 years, 30 months, who cares? Just learn on the job. See how it goes.
Absolutely.
Understand the process. Because like we said on previous shows, you've got to pay your entry fee.
Yes,
and
you
your
do.
entry fee is a tax, really, which is...
And you know all about taxes.
Oh, I know all about taxes, especially paying them. And it's your tax or your entry fee, okay, to enter into the world of property. But
Absolutely.
don't worry about that. But, I made a £15,000 loss and it's the end of my life. No, it's not. That's the start of your life, because now you know what not to do.
And what not to do is arguably just as important, if not more important than what you need to do.
Yeah, absolutely. 100%. And don't fall at the first hurdle.
Yeah, well, I mean, if you get rejected once or you have a failure once, don't give up there.
No.
That's not the time to give up. That's the time to dig your heels in and go, okay, I learned a lot.
Because
how can I implement these learnings into the next project, make it better? I can become smarter, stronger, better than I was before.
Absolutely, yeah.
And use those learnings to improve next time, and don't make the same mistakes again. You'll make different mistakes, by the way.
That's fine.
But different mistakes is better than repeating the same mistakes.
100%.
Each commercial conversion you've done, different mistakes each time?
All the time. You learn new things because there's so many different moving parts, things you think about, things you don't think about, things that you're never going to think about, things that you thought ought not to go wrong. Things you were sure weren't going to go wrong. So every time, when you've got other people involved, Kieran, stuff's going to go wrong, put it that way.
Oh, absolutely.
Simple.
For me, it's a bit like buying a house overall. The first house you ever bought, you went in, you looked around, you went, yeah, I like this, I'll take it. The second house you bought, you went in, you looked around, you checked a few things in a bit more detail, and you were like, okay, all right. The third house you bought, you went in, you checked the water pressure, you checked the heating, you checked the cracks, you checked the windows. The list of your checks gets longer the more houses you buy.
You become wiser, yeah, absolutely.
As you become wiser.
Same with commercial property.
Absolutely the same. Different mistakes across the board.
And that's why it's important, as you say, to have the right people around you when you're doing your first conversion to take around a building.
Absolutely.
They can point things out to you.
And they can tell you the things that you undoubtedly have missed. Structural engineers, quantity surveyors,
building surveyors.
Yeah. These are the people you need on your team to help you get to where you want to get to.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if I found a property, Mr. Nawaz.
Yes, Mr. Bateman.
And, let's call it a commercial property and say, okay, I look at it and go, I reckon we can do something here. And I get everything in place, one stumbling block. I don't quite have the money to do this full commercial conversion by myself. What do I do? I mean, this commercial conversion, for argument's sake, it's going to cost me £300,000 to buy the unit, which, if anyone didn't know, something that I think is worth mentioning is, on average, commercial space is cheaper per square foot and per square metre, whichever way you want to measure it, than residential.
That's the whole reason why that whole thing works for you, right?
And yeah. that was the point I was getting to, and that's the reason why this commercial conversions work. Yeah. So we've bought this commercial property for 300. Well, we're looking at it. It's 300,000.
Yeah.
And we estimate that the work we're going to have to put in is going to cost us another 300,000.
Mm-hmm.
But at the end of it, the total unit with all the flats all told all together is going to value at £1 million.
Mm-hmm.
GDV at the end is £1 million.
Yep.
Now, I don't have the 600 grand needed to do that conversion. Do you reckon that with those numbers, I could find a JV partner who would do it with me?
No, any day of the week.
Every day of the
Any
week.
day of the week with those numbers. Simply because if you find a property worth 300 grand, spend 300 grand on fitting it, kitting it out, and I'll assume in there you've included legal fees,
Absolutely,
STLT, the whole lot, to keep it really simple.
Yeah, just to keep it
And
simple.
you're making a 400 grand margin, okay, and if you're doing it in 18 months, okay, Kieran, and just to somebody invest 600 grand and you'll get £200,000 back in 18 months, okay, 33% return, who'd say no?
Well, this is it. So that's
As long as they're confident and they've done the DD on you, all that type of stuff, let's just assume those things.
Yeah. Assume they're confident in my ability to pull off the job.
Let's say you took 3 years
Yeah.
and it's a 16.66% return. Why would most people say no?
Well, this is it.
Do you know what I mean?
And that's
It's a
kind
no-brainer.
of the key point.
The smart people would do, Kieran, though, is say, I'll invest £300,000, the other £300,000, let's get a loan from a bank or a bridging company or somebody else. So I can then tie the other 300,000 and give to you to make the 600 into a second project.
Absolutely.
And use some of the bank's money.
Use some of the bank's money. And, just a caveat, we are not financial advisors, but, these are just things that we would do from our experience.
Yeah.
If you want financial advice, go and seek a professional.
Absolutely. Who's authorised to give you advice?
Sometimes I feel I need to go and seek a professional. Different reasons.
Oh, yes, yes. I'm looking for one for you. I just can't find somebody suitable who's got the patience. Who won't go mad.
Is your patience run out then?
No.
Not yet.
No. It's infinite for you, Kieran.
But yeah, and I mean, the nice thing about that, and the bit that we've kind of glossed over, is you've bought the property for 300, you've spent 300 refurbing it, you've spent £600,000. It's a lot of money. But once you've spent that 600 grand, you own it outright. Now, once it's turned into flats, you can mortgage those and get 75% loan to value, which means you'll pull out £750,000.
Yep.
So now you've got however many flats you created in that unit.
Call it 10.
Call it 10. So you've got 10 flats. Your investors got their £600,000 back. They're happy, which is always a good thing. You've got £150,000 sitting pretty, spare. If you were me or you, I would split that 50-50 with the investor.
You would do, yeah.
Yeah, obviously. Be fair about these things and be honest and upfront and clear. But that's still 75 grand to you and 75 grand to your investor. And then 5 flats to you and 5 flats to your investor. And they've got all their money back in 18 months. They've got £75,000 cash in 18 months. And correct me if I'm wrong, but when you remortgage, that extra cash is tax-free.
It is, depending on what you do with it.
Depending on what you do with it. That is the caveat.
Yeah, because obviously if you've got it through a limited company and you take the money out.
You've got to pay.
Yeah, but if you've put the money there as a director's loan at some point in the past and then you can draw down against it, then it's yours. But if it's in your personal names and you refinance, and then you can do what you like with the money.
Exactly that.
Yeah.
Show me another business model, another investment idea, another strategy that can take a limited amount of funds, a good deal, and a partner, and give you property for free.
Well, let's square that circle further. So let's say each property gives you £750 rent per month.
Yep.
Okay. Times 12 months, yeah?
Yeah.
That gives you £9 grand a year. Times 10 properties gives you £90,000. If it's...
Say it's a 4%.
Yeah, if it's if there's no void periods in the...
Yeah.
So if you've got £750,000 that you borrowed from the bank and you're paying, let's say, 5% interest. Okay,
Yep,
interest
yeah.
have gone up. If we were talking about this 6 months ago, we'd be saying
2%.
maybe 3%. Yeah,
Yeah.
because you know some of the deals we were doing.
Yeah,
Okay,
absolutely.
So on this one here, it'd be 337,500 you're paying interest only.
Yep.
Okay, and the balance, okay, of the funds that you've got left are all in your own pocket, because you're 52,200.
I mean, even if you added an extra,
we will.
$2,500 for fees and maintenance, and I mean, they're brand new, so they shouldn't be too much maintenance.
$7,500. Okay, be generous.
Be generous.
Yeah? And then that takes us to 45,000. Let's say we've got some void periods as well, okay, and we lost another £10,000. Yeah.
Yep.
Again, high numbers, I think.
Yeah, very high numbers.
Okay. You got £35,000. Now think about it, Kieran, and all of our listeners and viewers. You started with nothing in your pocket. You found a property, and you found a JV partner or some resource. And we covered this last week, where you get the resource from, and it doesn't always have to be through a JV partner. But
Absolutely.
You've done this deal, GDV, gross development value 1.1 million. Refinance at 75%, 250 grand. 600 goes back to the JV partner. The other 150
gets split.
You can split it, or you can leave it in the company for the next person. Ask JV partner, you contribute less now, but because you're contributing less, maybe you might give them a different share.
Yeah, absolutely.
Or do something else, by the way. And then all of a sudden now, everybody's got their money back, so you've both got 10 properties free, 5 each, okay? From those 5, there'll be this high cost, even though I've said 750 per month rent, times 12 months, times 10 properties, 90 grand. We've covered the in interest, if you've got interest at 5%, to £37,500. Some of the costs, in terms of other costs, £7,500, and voids, which is the
important
flats
thing
being empty, £10,000. £35,000, Kieran. You're getting £17,500 each. How many of those do you need to do before someone who can stop working, who has an average salary of, let's say, 35,000?
Well, you only need to do 2. You do 4, and suddenly you're in the top 10% of earners in the country. £70,000 a year for doing very little. In all honesty, you've done okay. You've had to find the properties. You've had to put the time and effort and sweat equity.
Involved, but
there is a lot of work involved. Don't mistake me.
Compare that to working 9 to 5, 48 weeks in a year, okay, and taking 4 weeks holiday. Okay, compared to that, you're right. It's very little to do.
Yeah, absolutely.
Compared to that,
and also show me another job, if you like, where you can go, okay, this year I'm earning £35,000. Next year I'm earning £35,000. But you know what? In year 3, I'm earning 70. Show me another job where you can double your salary in 3 years, quadruple it in 9.
good luck.
Yeah, exactly. And if you manage to, it's possible, and I have seen deals like where the investor has just put up the money, they've taken the 150 full extra back, that's their contribution, if you like, and then all the flats belong to the developer. At which point you've got 10 flats for free, your investor's got all their money back plus £150,000, you've got 10 flats and a rent roll of £35,000 coming in.
Yeah.
Profit.
Yeah.
Profit after costs.
And if you're sharp about that, you can obviously improve these numbers even more.
Oh, absolutely.
So 35 could easily become 45.
Yeah. And
Absolute game changer. This is why we love commercial conversions.
yeah,
Absolute game changer.
show me another business where you can make that sort of income.
Yeah, we've said it before, though. If someone said to you, here's 10 flats, Kieran, don't pay me a penny for them, have them. You'd say, why only 10, by the way? But I'll take these, but where did these 10 come from? Can I have some more?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, you would. And why wouldn't you? And that's the nice thing. And I think it's, ties nicely into our mindset sessions, is that, people who say I can't, the deal that, we've postulated here, 300, a million, isn't an unrealistic deal. These aren't pie in the sky numbers. I've not, wildly over exaggerated what is possible. that deal is possible.
Absolutely. And let's say it weren't £1 million, it was £800,000. You'd still refinance and get £600,000 back, pay off your investor.
Yeah, exactly that.
You haven't got the £150,000 in your bank account, but you know what? Who cares? The deal still works. You still ended up with 10 properties with no money tied in the deal.
Yeah.
Can't get any better, can it?
No, absolutely
well,
not.
it can if you get 150 grand, but generally speaking, okay, compared to most of the things, of course not.
No, and that's the thing. But you know, people who want to get into a property with very little money will say, "Oh, but yeah, it's all right for you. You've got money to invest." No, I don't. I don't use my money to invest. I absolutely do not. My money is tied up elsewhere.
Yeah,
you know?
Absolutely. Yeah.
You know, I use other people's money to invest.
Well, once you've got the expertise, then it's about using that expertise to as your working capital per se, or your sweat equity, you call it what you like. So somebody else will say to you, "I'll contribute the financial funds because I haven't got the time." It really is a process that you have to learn, which anybody can learn and then follow. And there's only one way to learn, by the way, on this particular journey. It's by learning on the job. You can read as many books you like, go to as many seminars and webinars and YouTube videos and talk to people and go networking and do all of that stuff there. But I'm telling you, the only way that you're going to be able to improve is that you will have to do the hard grind, Kieran. Do you know what I mean?
Absolutely, and that's an important thing. You do need to do the hard grind and recognise that the hard grind is there, and regardless of what you do, what you know, how much you do, how much you input, you'll get out what you input into it. And the more you input, the more work you're prepared to do, the more research, due diligence, and all the rest of it that you are prepared to do, then the more you will find it rewarding, and the more you will find and get out of it.
Thanks for listening to Wealth Made Simple. You can follow and contact Shaz on the Facebook pages Entrust Property Tax and The Profits Wizard. You can also find Shaz on LinkedIn, YouTube and Instagram. Alternatively, email him at shaz@aa-accountants.co.uk. Build your wealth by mastering money.